with another while simultaneously demonstrating the unique qualities of their own argument. So it is up to the judges to decide which team has the persuasive voice of argument. But before we will proceed, let me introduce to you our board of judges. First, Mr. Eduardo R. Enriquez, Arling Panlipunan Department Head. Second is Mrs. Nancy A. Castillo, the Master Teacher 1 of Arling Panlipunan Department. Third is
It pertains to something that gives us pleasure or amusement from playing a game. For example, that we teenagers can easily do with the use of cell phones. This is why we believe that the use of cell phones do not help us students but rather distract us, especially during classes. So, there's a need of prohibiting the use of cell phones in the school, especially when classes are going on. In order to support the government, we will answer the question why it should be prohibited. As we know, there was a recent news about a teacher killed by her student because of confiscating the said cell phone. This happening was so alarming that the nation itself has been arguing on what steps should be taken in order to make a school as an educational place, not as a place of which violence could occur. Actually, our country is not alone in finding reasonable solutions in prohibiting the use of cell phones inside the school premises. Some of these countries are USA and England, which highly supports the prohibiting of cell phones in the school or classrooms. For more strong details and supporting reasons, I'll give you 3 reasons. First is basically it's a distraction. How using cell phones inside school premises or classrooms are a distraction? Well, it's quite common, especially when a teacher is having her lecture, then suddenly a phone rang due to a call, and the attention inside the classroom would be on that person on which the source of sound comes from. Thus, it interferes with the discussion itself. Next is, it is a very useful device that can be used in cheating. Way back years ago, during exams or quizzes, most students rely on writing answers on papers, then share it with their classmates by passing it from one person to another. But as we know, it's too risky, right? It can be easily caught. Not unlike when you use cell phones, cheating is one cent away. Now, if you'll ask, any evidence that could positively support this reason? Of course, been there, done that. Third is, it affects the student's performance. Of course, having the fact that applications such as games and social websites in cell phones would make students be more interested in being engaged with such entertainment gadget that could actually set a different path for student to possibly fail in his or her academics. But, above all, limits should be implemented, whether it should only be banned for high school students or also for college students. Because we all know college students are mature enough to face these problems, and basically having a portable gadget is very much useful for them. There has been this confusing statement, embrace the technology. Really? We're talking about education. Would it help? We don't think so, because
Good morning, judges and my fellow classmates. So, the first speaker made mention about distraction. So we have this function in the cell phone that airplane mode. We can turn our cell phones into a airplane mode wherein it will not allow the phone to receive nor to send messages, nor to receive a call or to make a call by just simply using making the phone into airplane mode. The second one you can mention about cheating. When the teacher is discussed, whenever a class is going to have a test, the teacher can put the cell phone of the students in front of the classroom and while taking the test. And after taking the test, they can get back immediately their cell phone. So there's no such way the students can cheat by cell phones because of that. And the third one is, you will mention about games, application, or destructive games. Yes, I admit there's a lot of destructive games, just like, let me say, destructive games. But come and try to think of it. There are also many educational apps which ease the difficulties of the students to into a particular subjects, just like math, science. So these educational applications could help students to ease their difficulties. So we are now on a modern century, which is the 21st century, and we are very modern right now. So right now we have to embrace the what technology has to offer us to make our life easy. Is that right? Do you agree? So yes. So the first one I want to clarify that I don't want to prohibit cell phones in school is that, as I said, phones can be used as educational purposes. Am I right? So you can use calculators, not especially when during math, because there's some applications that you can get the answers right away. And the other basic function of the cell phone is used as the stopwatch timer, wherein during science time, a science teacher has only an average of 2 stopwatch timer in her possession or in his possession. So it would waste a lot of time if we're going to wait for that or to wait for our turn.
But we need to make sure that those factors are predominantly based on what will benefit the students academically. Mr. Carlo Calinero have mentioned that cell phones can be used as a paraphernalia for educational purposes. But here's the big...
Pay attention to their teacher while teaching or while giving the lectures, and the students should engage in positive activities. So, I will tell you what are the bad effects of using cell phones in terms of the people's health. First, it increases the stress levels of the students. In the study conducted at the University of Gothenburg, where mobile phones was associated with sleeping disturbances and symptoms of depressions. So, overall, the using of cell phones can be a risk factor for mental issues in young adults. Second, it increases the risk of chronic pains. So, as we all know, back pain is also common cause of using cell phones, especially when you hold your phones between your neck and your shoulders. So, long period of using cell phones can cause to stiff neck and hold your body in strange position. So, I want to ask this question: if there are bad effects of using cell phones, are there also good effects in terms of the health of the people's health?
They're going to save their children using stimulated eyes, and maybe it will be too late for us to keep them safe, and that's for safety. So, for education, there are many reasons why it is so essential for a student to have their cell phones inside school. So first, phones are good for research purposes. Yeah. Cell phones are good for research purposes, although some of the schools have computer sets in a computer lab, but still isn't enough. So a better second choice is to have their phones as a source of information to have a research. So then, the basic functions on cell phones that are not likely observed are using them as a calculator, as a support of my companion's idea, as a calculator, stopwatch, and a dictionary. So a calculator. So we all know, my fellow students, that we really have a hard time, a difficulty in solving mathematical expressions, in solving mathematical equations. So how are we going to deal with this? So first, just to be quite frank, we need to use phone as a source, as a calculator, but you must ask your teacher for further information. So, then a stopwatch. I'm a student and I know that in science class, we use stopwatch for certain experiment. So, and as a dictionary, let's be practical. To be quite frank, there's no man in the world who know all the English words. Even the American and even the Englishmen, they don't know all the vocabularies. So, for me, it's better to use phone as a dictionary And last, as a memo reader, if you're likely to forget some important things, we need to use phone
while using cell phone.
So, next is toxic impact on the mind. So, you know that cell phones can cause your eyes to weak, can cause optical problems. So, if you use cell phones frequently, you will get blind. So, another thing is, I have a question. So, my question is, why do you say that cell phone can boost your social skills when in fact it is accredited on making you antisocial? So that's my question.
You are getting out of discussion. You know, we all know that cell phone is a modern technology, right?
Yes.
The impact of technologies in modern life is unmeasurable. We use technologies in different ways, right? Do you know that cell phones keep you safe? Believe me or not, cell phone could save your life. Here's an example. Based on the article that I read, on April 20, 1999, two teenagers walked on Columbine High School carrying submachine guns and homemade bombs, intending to do some major damage in school. There's one student hiding for his life, asking help, and he calls 911 and he describes the location of the school and what the murderers looks like. If it weren't for him and his cell phones and many other students would have died. What I'm trying to say is, cell phone is useful. We must not ban it in school. Pretty much everywhere that cell phone is banned in our school because some people say that it is distraction in students. Teachers do not want students using cell phones because they are texting, watching movies, or many more. So, you know, but the truth is, the modern phones, they can be a great learning tools. And you don't even know that administrators often take notes of their cell phones as
Having a school that would be upgraded. Immediate access to parents in an emergency. Like what I've said earlier. Independent classroom level access from the outside world during power failure, loss of phone system, emergencies, or lockdown conditions. Third, access of information via smartphones, internets, like what we used to do nowadays. Fourth, additional security during, before, after school hours. And then fifth, students can help spread necessary information to each other and parents or guardians. Like, for example, an immediate announcement came, so you can easily contact your classmates, your parents to come to school to attend it for you. 6. Growing body of content and curriculum designed to integrate phone use. So, about what Mr. Ibrahim said about the rank 1, cell phone is not a hindrance, because if you really pursue to be the rank 1, nothing would ever stop you, because true courage is pursuing your dreams even when everyone else says it's impossible. So, cell phones or whatever destructive things that you might say will pull you down to be the rank 1. Like Ruth. Yes, an example. She is a very persuasive person. So, I'm going to ask you a question. So, how about dependent students who cannot go to school alone or who cannot go home to school alone? Are the government paying someone to send them home or bring them home?
Well, Miss Mandy, you talk about poverty. Is that the topic? And also Ruth, she doesn't use phone. She doesn't have one. Although she have one, she doesn't bring it to school. So as a summary, cell phone should be prohibited in the classroom or school premises because, number one, it would affect the child emotionally. For example, when having a face-to-face conversation, a new studies conducted at the University of Essex in the United Kingdom, the 7 pairs of strangers were asked to talk about an interesting topic for 10 minutes. Every partner should have every partner one. So next is sexting. So sex through phone. So which is when students send nude pictures or pornographic pictures of themselves to other students. If students had access to their phones all day, chances are the amount of sexting would increase because of more time available to do so. So one research shows that some people are more likely to express themselves in social media like Facebook, Twitter, which could be seen by the public and might react to it. Then sometimes misunderstanding occurs. So again, another opinion shows and talks about trend setters, where most teenagers follow the trend and post stuff that are trending just to get attention, as well as posting pictures where some of their private body parts are exposed, like cleavage, to get more likes and disfiguring their dignity and reputation. So cell phones force us to be antisocial, lose patience easily, using correct spelling and grammar, and it limits our face-to-face interactions with one another. So number 3, biological effects. Health hazards. In the recent years, there has been a lot of speculation about the impact of cell phone radiation on our body. A study by the Journal of the American Medical Association steered the debate when it investigated the effects of mobile phones could have on the brain. So some serious effects are non-malignant tumors, brain and the ear, cancer, chronic pain, eye vision problems, increases stress levels, and risk of illnesses in your immune system. And again, most of the accidents that happen daily arise because of mobile phone, such as games like Pokemon Go. So number 4. So the mental and intellectual effects. Cell phones are distractions that take a student's mind away from what is being taught, like in school. Most students indulge in exam malpractice and cheating during the internal and external examinations. Can I extend to throw my question?
Of course, calculations of dosage, and of course, the groceries checklist, inventory. So of course, by the time our students enter their professions, the need to utilize the mobile technology will be even stronger. Do you want that your student will get in a job wherein he or she doesn't even know how to use the cell phone? Hey, that's a shame on the part of the student, and also a shame on the part of the school where that student came from. So we're in a modern life. We have to embrace technology, and with that said negative side, if you are responsible enough, then there's no big problem with the use of cell phones. So having cell phones on hands enables a student to quickly summon assistance in the middle of an emergency. So allowing students to carry cell phones gives their parents the ability to contact them. Example of it is when the student is not feeling well. So of course, students can contact their parents in case of emergency. So that's why I said it is very important. Can you call your parents just by shouting without any use of cell phones here from the home? Can you? No, we can't. And of course, that's why I'm saying that use of cell phones is important. It can stronger the relationship of the students, even though the students whole day or spend many hours here to school more than with the house. It's not a food, but you can use that to enhance yourself. You can even use that example for researching about what the symptoms you feel. So of course, like researching, hey, what does those symptoms? Is it a disease, cancer, or whatever? And with the use of the cell phone, of course, you can be aware of it. The second question.
So why do you say that cell phone boosts social skills?
Social skills And why do we have the ice cream? Have you ever experienced use of computer before you go to the cell phones? Of course not. We will go from lower, then we will go to the use of computer. So from the first step, like life of the stage, we will use first the cell phone. If you